Hey guys, it's Twiglets2 here, back with more Rise of Nations content for new and returning players. This is the third and final installment of my early build guide, where the focus has been on players building towards taking on a tough AI opponent. Getting your ass handed to you playing online multiplayer isn't everybody's idea of a good time, and so as an alternative, I highly recommend taking on increasingly difficult AI opponents as a team with your friends. My personal favourite being 3v3. If you missed the first and second videos of this build order guide, the links are in the description and a card will be appearing at the top right of your screen. A quick recap on where we got to at the end of the previous video. We had just aged up into the third age. We have level 2 military, civic and commerce, but level 3 science. You've almost certainly had to fend off your first attack from the AI, so remember to create troops throughout this build, as the next wave is never far away. We have 2 cities, so our priority is to get the third up and running as soon as possible. This will allow us to quickly move from having 1 caravan to having 3 to get our wealth income through the roof. We will also feel the benefit of having Science 3 right away by being able to build our granaries and lumber mills with upgrades already researched, plus a smelter if required, to make this third city really boost all of our resources. The location of this city is really important. Ideally, you will have scouted a location with a source of metal and wood. Because this city is going to be so important for boosting your resources, you also want it to be placed safely away from where your opponent is likely to attack. As you built your second city towards your opponent, purposefully making it the focus of their attention, you should be able to build this third city somewhere to the side of your first city. Bear in mind that nowhere on the map is entirely out of harm's way, so we'll be building at least 1 tower as a defense. One final note before we actually get into the build order, it's useful to have researched the construction technology from your lumber mill. It's so important that this third city is up and running as soon as possible, and having this technology researched will help you build everything more quickly. So go ahead and put this third city down. While this city is being built, you should create as many workers as you can. Once this city has finished construction, you will have a lot of buildings to build as quickly as possible, then plenty of spaces to allocate workers to collect resources. As soon as the city is constructed, you will want to do several things as quickly as possible. First, I would prioritize your 2 new caravans. To add even more efficiency, try to create a new caravan at each of your 2 marketplaces, rather than both at the same market, as this will take longer. Next, you'll want to build your farms, woodcutter camp and mine as soon as possible. Remember, this city is all about boosting your resources as quickly as possible to fund your army, so speed is of the essence. Once these are building, you should also get your granary, lumber mill and smelter, where applicable, built, to take advantage of their resource production boost as soon as possible. This is a good point to practice your shortcuts. It's more than likely you're being attacked at your second city at the same time you're trying to build your third new city. Being able to build by tapping 2 keys, such as B and then F to build a farm, will enable you to get all of these buildings started in a matter of seconds, allowing you to get back to the fight where your concentration is really needed. It's difficult for me to predict exactly when and how often you'll be attacked at this point. In an ideal scenario, you'll be able to get your third city up and running before researching further upgrades for your troops. But if your opponent is really starting to get the upper hand, then do what you've got to do. Get those troop upgrades. Just remember, this will slow down how quickly you will feel the resource benefit of this third city. Another important factor here is knowledge. Your opponent may well be an age ahead of you at this point, and the only way you're going to catch up is to boost your knowledge production. You need to make sure your current universities are at full capacity, and you have the construction of your third one underway. Don't forget to use that infinite queue, so the scholars will be created automatically. If you're struggling for wealth, try to sell some resources to fund them. The juggle of resources can be an added complication, but it's worth it for the extra knowledge. It's equally important to research your university technology to boost production. If you research this at a university that already has maximum scholars, it will allow your new university to concentrate on producing the new scholars. You should really be feeling the benefit of the added resources now, which can be invested into your army to fend off the savage attacks of your enemies. Create new units, particularly heavy infantry, archers and heavy cavalry. Using these with your Patriot, you should be able to fend off these attacks with increasing ease. However, you'll notice we haven't built a siege factory yet, mostly because these are for attacking, and up to this point, we've been defending. So get your siege factory built, somewhere near your barracks and stables. You may not be surprised to hear I recommend shortcutting this to your F3 key by selecting the siege factory and holding control while tapping F3. We're now preparing to take the fight to your enemy. Hopefully your scout is still alive at this point. So do your best to scout out where the enemy cities are, especially the one that's closest to your second city. Go ahead and build yourself a supply wagon to protect your troops from attrition in enemy territory, and at least 3 catapults, which you want to upgrade to trebuchets and bombards quickly, preferably before your first attack. Keep building a steady stream of artillery to join your army, as they are the key to taking out enemy cities. You'll also need to build a decent enough army to protect your artillery, as they're very weak defensively. You may well be hitting your resource limit and population limit by now, so feel free to research Commerce 3 and Military 3 when you need them. You should have all the knowledge you need to do this pretty much whenever you like. Civic is less important at this point, as ideally your 4th city will be one that you capture from your opponent. So try to concentrate on upgrading your army and working towards the next age instead. A quick side note, if you're still struggling for wealth, you can build another market and temples to help with this. Now you should be ready to move out, led by your patriot to capture your first enemy city, which is where we'll leave this video today. I'll create a separate video including my thoughts on how best to attack a city, but the basic idea is to let your siege do the work, while your army's job is to protect them and to assimilate the city. And remember to create a rally point on your patriot from your barracks, stables and siege factory. This way you can automatically reinforce your army without taking your eyes off the battle. I hope you found today's video useful. If you're building towards a tough AI, then I guarantee this build order will set you up for a win. As always, please feel free to support the channel by subscribing and commenting. If you enjoy gaming, and strategy games in particular, my other content may interest you, so check it out when you have a spare moment. Have a great day.